I'm going to refer to you to two seers, Melanie and Maximus. Now, neither of them have been canonised saints, yet they were the two seers which revealed to the world through their bishop way back there in 1846. And I mention it particularly because the shrine here, the National Shrine of Our Lady La Salette, is a place where I'll be visiting fairly soon in the next hour or so. From that apparition, these two rough nuts and harsher words have been said by spiritual writers as to their temperament and character. Our Lady met up with them and was crying her eyes out. As far as I know, it's the only image of Our Lady with her hands on her face, her head into her hands, crying. And she said, I cannot hold my son's hand back. I can't hold his arm back unless you change. Now, what had been going on in France up until that time for 50 years was revolution after revolution after revolution. There were 5 revolutions which coincided and mingled and brought about the killing of each administration. They turned away from God. They idolised the goddess, a prostitute, on the altar in one of the churches. And the persecution was very intense for those wanting to practice their Catholic faith. And there was a great period of martyrdom. And the faith had been lost pretty much in that country. It's similar to what has happened up to very recently, where the Muslims had come in and they had had their law implemented in about 28 counties or states, whatever they referred to in France. Shari law had taken over and the faith had been taken away from the people. It's changed now in the last 2 years. The young people have a resonation of their faith and have been holding fast and going forward in great numbers. But in this period that I'm talking about of La Salette, and by the way, that apparition was approved within 4 years by 1850, which is very fast, and there was only one apparition. Our Lady was saying, unless you change, I can't stop this famine that's coming. You've already seen how your potatoes have turned to dust. You already know that you're affecting conditions in nature by your absence of attending Mass on Sunday. We can relate very much to this particular message of Our Lady way back there over 150 years ago as applying also today. People are not going to Mass. And Our Lady was also saying that you are swearing and cursing against my son more often than what you are praying. Now, these two little children were living that type of life, but they were just typical. It was a very isolated area where the gleam of the mountains, the snow on the Alps, was seen many months of the year. So they brought this message to the bishop. They themselves were never canonised. Even John Vianney maintained that Maximus, because of his behaviour and the way he was so abrupt to St. John Vianney, and John Vianney regretted it, but for 8 years he didn't believe in the apparition, even thinking that the bishop had made a mistake. The outcome of this is clear to us today. Each and every one of us need to be seen and to live, to put our lamp on a lampstand, to go into places where they are not practicing the faith, to be a light, to show in your courtesies and your respect for the priests, your reverence before the Blessed Sacrament, and being able to introduce Melanie and Maximus didn't even know the Hail Mary. That's how raw they were in their Catholic faith. Yet Our Lady still came amongst this environment or stench as she had in Lourdes, where she appeared in the cave some years later, where it was a trash heap where she appeared, to show us that from trash she can turn us all into a great treasure. And the treasure is in poverty. When we become detached from the things that are around us and go forth like these disciples went forth, Don't worry about what to eat, what to drink. Eat what is put in front of you. Very convincing. Has a great impact on people when you do such things. So even with your visitations, if you can live like that, and when people ask you what it is that you want to eat, choose something that you don't particularly like and eat that. And if it's just leftovers, go for the leftovers. If it's something like a spicy drink or water, go for the water. There are different ways in which you can do that. But draw from this gospel some ways in which you yourself can be like appointed. And I give you that ministry now, like the 72, to go out there and to make known and to trust completely in God. And if you don't have the shoes, if you don't have the warm jacket, don't worry. That will come to you. The poor will give you that. I know it myself. You give something out here on a cold day and very soon something comes back to you, and God will sustain you during that coldness and give you the warmth. St. Francis did that. When I first joined the Franciscan Friars of the Immaculate in Perth in Western Australia, the cold weather in those buildings, they were only veneer brick and timber, would drop down below freezing, even within the building. And we were asked and more or less expected, which we did because we wanted so much this way of life that I'm just talking about, which is very Franciscan, one blanket. But you're warm because you are obedient to the word of God. God will supply what you need.